Hi, so this is Carrie Johnston, and I'm filming today on the traditional territory of Champagne and Ajax First Nations in the community of Vakokata Haines Junction. And my guest today is Chris Irving, and Chris is in Whitehorse today on the traditional territory of Kwanlin First Nation and on Quechin Council. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you very much. It's nice to talk to you.
Thanks. So I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your business model pre-COVID.
Yeah, sure. So the past couple of years, I've been self-contracting as essentially a caterer, a private chef. Last year, I was doing some teaching as well in Whitehorse, following up on some property acquisition that I have interest in here in Whitehorse. I went away to Europe for the winter, coming back with the plans to engage and initiate a web page based culinary experiences business. So I set that all up when I was overseas, and when I got back to Whitehorse in March to engage this, obviously the measures set in place didn't allow for all social gatherings. So my teaching position was put on hold. Some of the tourism-based opportunities that I had throughout the spring and the summer were obviously canceled. So, I had to completely go back and reinvent the wheel. So I had my website, so it was all paid for and set up. So I had to figure out what I was going to do in order to stay current and relevant and to keep my bills paid.
Mm-hmm. And so what transitions have you made over the last couple of weeks in your business model?
Well, like I said, I was supposed to teach, and one of the classes that I was teaching, and I taught this as well last year, is called Preparing to Launch. And what it was taking some of the Kwanlin First Nations kids, bringing them down here and teaching them how to make a very basic meal to take these skills back home and be able to cook a very rudimentary dinner for their family. Well, when social and physical distancing measures got put in place, they weren't actually allowed to come down here. So I offered to cook the food myself, and they came and collected it, and the food still got distributed. So that actually planted the seed in my mind that, through discussing with one of their directors there, that, there was people in dire situations, and that, made me think that, there's a lot of people out here that, could do with a meal service. So with having my website, online, ready to engage, I decided that, that knowing some other businesses from down south that could be quite beneficial up here, I decided to do a meal delivery service. So, something completely separate and not trying to take away from restaurant, online delivery, takeout, and that kind of thing. So as restaurants shut down, they still have their very relevant business too. Not to detract from that, I decided to do these meal prep sort of offerings. So, smaller portions meant to be a little bit more nutritious and a nutritional supplement for your day, rather than office workers or essential workers eating microwave meals every day, and talking to different people, and knowing that that's kind of their program. I launched this out softly the last couple of weeks to the doctors and nurses and healthcare staff, and it was received with a lot of success, and kind of rolling on still, and just waiting on now for some back-end platform stuff on my website to launch to the public. So.
And you're doing some work with the food bank as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So, when I learned about some of the community members around that, were not doing so well, and, people weren't able to maybe get out to buy groceries or to feed themselves, and, a number of avenues of hungry people, I decided, besides, the business was one thing, pay the bills, but, I wanted to offer my time and support, and I started a charity called Helping Hungry Locals. I pledged $5,000 at first, and said that I would cook 1,000 meals, and I did the first batch, made 250 meals out of the space that I'm in here now. Realized there was a lot of work because I'm not in a commercial facility, and I actually reached out to a few other people because I had a lot of support within that as well. People wanting to come in and peel carrots or wash dishes, and just because of safety and respecting our distancing rules and stuff, I didn't actually want people in here. So I had the idea to engage some other chefs who offer their support, and through that I founded a collective called the Yukon Chefs Collective. And what that is just a group of us that have come together now and kind of pledged our time and offered our a day within our week to put these meals together to deliver to the food bank. And now over the last week and the combination and the gathering of us together in our respective spaces have escalated that $5,000 initial pledge to up to $9,000 today. So and it seems like there's more and more support every day, which is amazing. So we're going to keep making these meals and delivering to the food bank until that donation pot goes dry.
Yeah, it seems to me in a lot of your business model, you look for opportunities to collaborate and build relationship with other businesses. So it seems like a really fitting model for you right now.
Yeah, definitely. Throughout my career, opening restaurants all over the world, and I get the opportunity to work with a lot of different people. It's kind of something that I lean towards because I think that collaborative creativity often fuels a lot of progressive movement. If you're working in a restaurant and you have young apprentices or people that you're working with, they learn everything that you have, but I mean, even still, the chef still needs to be engaged and likes to share different ideas and techniques and stuff. So to be able to bring somebody else in or be able to have that collaborative, creative efforts joined together, I think it's rewarding. And, it's kind of like a band of brothers type of thing, it's a good feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even I like what you were just saying there, learning from our apprentices. And I was just thinking about the teaching you were doing with local youth. Like, we forget that our mentors can be younger than us sometimes too. The people we learn from are often those who have that creative spark deep in them.
I totally agree, yeah.
So speaking of young people and Yukoners in general, what have you learned from your customers, from your clients, from Yukoners in the past couple of weeks?
Like I said, the primary group of people that have been supplying these meals to are doctors and nurses. So keeping within the respective rules of physical engagement, and essentially just doing like a drop and dash delivery service. So everything's prepaid for. I bag everything up. I take precautions within my own space here that I'm doing everything within my best ability to stay clean, sanitary, and healthy, right? I don't have just people walking in here, and I'm pretty careful with that. So, they have that confidence in me that they're getting something that they don't have to worry about, and the drop and dash kind of procedure is quite welcome as well. So everybody's very, very adherent to what has to be done. So that's so far so good. And once I get things up and going for the website, it'll be interesting to see how much what the different kind of clientele and demographic of people will be.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So how are you thinking about your business going forward a little bit? What are some of your sort of plans in the next couple of weeks? Where do you see opportunities for growth?
Well, this pre-made delivery meal service is not something that I intended to do when I got back. It was a business model based out of necessity and opportunity. It's not something that I intend on growing further than physical distancing requirements. So I have this space that I'm renting now temporarily until things go back to normal, until classes can resume. So, this isn't a business that I intend to carry further. Through this whole thing too, I've had some opportunities. I've been approached for a couple of contracts, separate to kind of the charity and the meal delivery business, something that's supplement my income as well, but also it's parallel to feeding lesser fortunate individuals. So unless this thing really takes off and goes gangbusters, I don't anticipate I'm going to be doing delivery meals for the rest of the year. It could change every week. We might be in this state for 18 months. I've been told until December, but it could be next month, it could be next week. We don't know. So I'm just going to forge ahead and keep doing what I'm doing until things change.
I think one of the things I'm hearing from you too, though, is like you're staying open and adaptable and sort of seeing as the opportunities come, how it sort of fits in with what you're doing or where you want to go a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of one of the strong points I could say in my career and working in all different places as a developmental chef is that I am highly adaptable. I kind of have that as a niche. And when I was working for hotels or Gordon Ramsay or whatever, I could go into these different locations and just pick up quickly from one place to another. So sticking to my roots and what I'm good at and what keeps me interested in and relatable and whatever else is important. I like to be happy in what I do, and this keeps me happy, being able to help people and being able to do something that keeps me sane and keeps me healthy in body and mind, right?
Cool. So what, speaking of keeping you sane in body and mind, what are some of your wellness practices? What's kind of keeping you sane going through the days?
Well, coming down here to this kitchen actually and getting out of the house, having somewhere to go every day is nice. I live with my family, my cousin and his family, and it's great and it's nice to spend time with each other, but when everybody's just sitting at the house and crawling all over each other, it's nice to get up in the morning and somewhere to go. So even if I'm just here by myself, I'm sitting here now, the sun's shining in, I'll put the music on and just plug away. And I might do 4 hours of work in the space of 8 hours, but at least I'm out of the house doing things, keeping creative and keeping relevant, right?
Any particular music, podcasts, books, or anything like that getting you through these days that you'd recommend?
Man, I rely heavily on Spotify, and I'm kind of all over the map. It goes from everything from classical to jazz to hip hop to electronic music. There's nothing one specific genre that I listen to. But I actually just ordered a book, kind of fitting for our times. It's the artist is Fanny Singer, or the author is Fanny Singer, and she's the daughter of acclaimed chef Alice Waters. Fanny wrote this book called Always Home, and it's a recipes and stories of Fanny, but told through kind of like or the forward done by Alice Waters. So I've ordered that and looking forward to that, kind of seeing what that's all about.
Yes, there's, yeah, I mean, and I didn't even think about Alice Waters during this time, but that kind of connection to food, connection to land, connection to client, like so much of what she brought to the culinary world is, relevant for us in our little household bubbles right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was lucky to spend time with her when I was in Australia, so I kind of feel a little bit closer, kind of close to that aspect of things, that whole food movement that she started, and so nice to see something new like that.
What are your hopes for the food movement here in the Yukon? What's your dream?
Well, I see a progression of talented, passionate individuals. I think that there's a stifling amount of just average food establishments, and it's not for the sake of people being in business, but there's not a lot of amazing culinary talent up here, and it's hard to run business here because of cost. There's just the way that we were raised here, there's a massive implication of value for money. So people want a lot of food for not a lot of money, but there's always that cross comparison of people wanting good quality things for cheap. Well, not really the way that it works, and there has to be a line in the sand where businesses are either expensive and you're getting good quality, or you're paying an average price for an average product. So I think it's difficult for people to get into maybe that local higher end casual dining that's requested. People are always asking, we should open a fine dining restaurant. Well, it's nice in theory, but people aren't going to pay $60 for 3 mouthfuls of food, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the guys at Wayfair are doing a good job. They're keeping the kind of food scene on the map here in Whitehorse. I think there's a lot of movement forward with that, and I think there's a lot more. There certainly could be a lot more, and seeing independent operators like Troy at the Ramen Shop and stuff doing these independent spots is great, rather than a lot of these chain restaurants or whatever popping in like Earls or whatever. I'm not saying that their food's not decent, but they have that corporate overlord kind of feeling to them that people don't like sometimes, and I think we need a lot more independent small business owners.
Cool. Great. Okay, well, thanks so much for joining me today, and it was great to chat with you, and thanks for all that you're doing for the food bank and for our healthcare providers out there, and it's appreciated.
Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you as well.